Hello again guys, it's Average Ol, making average content for the average viewer. Today I'm back with another video that is sort of about Modern Warfare, but before you click off the video, don't worry, I am going to be talking about Battlefield 2. Right, so a lot of you have probably seen over the past weekend many videos called things like COD's Battlefield mode is rubbish, etc. I may be paraphrasing there, but you get the gist. Now, I know that currently, due to my content creation, a lot of my social media is full up with Battlefield fans, like myself, but what this means is that I'm currently stuck in a sort of echo chamber, whereby I could be forgiven if I thought that Modern Warfare was rubbish because of all the posts that I'm seeing. Now obviously I realise that this is predominantly because I don't follow many Call of Duty YouTubers or streamers on Twitter, and the Facebook algorithm is mainly giving me posts from the Battlefield groups that I'm in. But I am, and have always been, a massive fan of both Battlefield and Call of Duty, so I just wanted to enter this conversation and give some points from a very unbiased point of view. Before we go on, please drop a comment down below and tell me if you enjoyed the beta if you played it, and if you didn't, then tell me if you plan on buying the game when it releases. Also, if you're new here and you like Battlefield or Call of Duty mixed with some nerdy white kid who likes crude jokes and shit puns, then I'd love it if you'd subscribe. As I'm sure you're aware, this weekend was the Modern Warfare beta, and in said beta we got to try out their new mode, Ground War. So this mode is a 32v32 massive all-out war with vehicles and more capture points than an average domination match. So already we can see some pretty big similarities between this mode and our very own Conquest. And yeah, I totally agree with what a lot of people are saying, that this mode could be a lot better. But I want to make one thing abundantly clear. Comparing these modes really is apples and oranges. Now usually I would say that this saying is a ridiculous thing to say, because of course you can compare an apple to an orange. They are both fruit, they both have a skin and seeds. You get where I'm going with this. And the same can be said for Ground War and Conquest. They both have very large player counts, vehicular combat, squads, and yes, you guessed it, first person shooter mechanics. But I'd really like to discuss just how different these games are. So first, I want to put it to you that this game, despite its similarities, is not Battlefield 6. If Battlefield's mechanics and in-game devices is what you know and love, and this is what you're expecting from Modern Warfare, then honestly, you are going to be more disappointed than when my parents were told that I was quitting A-level law and maths to pursue a BTEC in drama. Yeah, imagine that. But my point is, if you went to an Italian and you were really craving a pizza, and then the waiter brought you out a carbonara, you would feel the same disappointment. The dishes are both Italian, and they have both been cooked really well and seasoned by professionals, but the point is, you want a pizza. And if you want a pizza, no matter how nice the pasta dish is, it's just not what you want. Now obviously that is a bit more extreme than comparing COD and Battlefield, but I just want to get my point across, that just because Ground War isn't the same as Battlefield, doesn't mean that it doesn't have its own merits. So Battlefield, in my opinion, is the dawn of large warfare gaming that mixes vehicular and infantry based combat seamlessly. Honestly, nothing compares to the mad Battlefield moments that happen when you are hunkered down shooting people out of a window, only to have the whole side of your building blown out from in front of your face as you're greeted by an enemy tank staring you down. Or the feeling when you've been trying to get a kill with a helicopter or a plane and you've been trying for ages with no luck, but then all of a sudden something clicks and you break through that skill floor, and out of nowhere you feel like an absolute boss flying around the map like you're straight out of Top Gun. These are things that you can only get from Battlefield, and it's completely understandable if that is what you want. However, if you look from the other side of things, Call of Duty as a franchise has many things that its fan base know and love. The gunplay has always been a lot more fast paced and sort of arcadey, something that I often see the Battlefield community citing as a negative. However, for the Call of Duty community and myself, this is an obvious plus, as this is the reason we keep coming back year after year. With that in mind, I would like to put it to you that I find Ground War and Conquest equally as enjoyable, but for totally different reasons. There is no denying that Battlefield is the superior experience if you're looking for something that is a lot more tactical and team focused within a large war, milsim-esque feeling. However, However, if you just want to hop onto a game and play more loosely and just pub stomp on some people, then Call of Duty is the obvious choice, as you don't have to worry about your class or role in a team, and although you're on the same side as 30 other people, you are essentially just a lone wolf. That all being said, I do agree with what a lot of people are saying about some of the issues that we saw in the Ground War beta. I want to put aside all of the so-called issues that are just things that have translated straight over from the core Call of Duty experience, and instead talk about things that COD can look to Battlefield for to make their game mode better altogether. First of all is possibly my biggest gripe I've had with this mode, and that is the spawns. Now, in Battlefield, spawns are something that are far from perfect, but for the most part tend to work very well. For example, if you want to spawn in on a squad mate but they are taking damage, the game will not let you spawn in until that teammate is safe. And furthermore, when you spawn in on said teammate, if they are led behind cover, you too will spawn in already led down and, for the most part, out of harm's way. This is something that Call of Duty needs to work on. I couldn't tell you how many times I spawned into the game right into someone's line of sight and got taken out quicker than when you accidentally slip into the wrong hole. It literally seems that every other spawn is just a roll of the dice whether or not you'll spawn safely. Also, if you find yourself behind enemy lines and your minimap has more red spots than a budget stripper's ass, you can methodically clear every room of a building like John Wick, and then you still end up getting domed by some twat with a clan tag 420 who just happened to spawn in directly behind you. This is something that is directly worse than Battlefield and is holding the game back. Now next is a tricky one, because some people will love it and a lot of people who have come from Battlefield will say it is a bad thing, and that is the TTK, or time to kill. Now personally I don't feel like the TTK is too fast from a Call of Duty point of view, and I think that it fits perfectly to the 6v6 or even the 10v10 meta. However, when you combine this TTK with the virtually non-existent damage drop-off over long distances in Ground War, it makes for a really unbalanced experience. I found that when I was playing the game I started using a more generic assault rifle like an M13 or an M4, but when I switched to the MP5 I noticed that I could still counter-snipe players and pick people off from across the map. This means that there was no way I would choose an assault rifle over the SMGs, as the SMGs can keep up at range, but their sprint out time and ADS time was leaps and bounds above the other weapons, making it my go-to choice, with the small caveat of the M13, which with certain attachments plays more akin to an SMG anyway. Next up, I'd like to talk about the squad system. As we all know, in Battlefield you can choose your squad as you play, meaning that if you get stuck with 3 hill humping camping snipers, then you can choose a squad that is going to give you more beneficial spawn points for your particular playstyle. This is not the case in Ground War, as far as I can tell you are placed with 3 other random players by the game and there is no clear way in which you can change this, meaning that you are stuck with who you start with. There is also a squad leader in Ground War, but I couldn't for the life of me work out what the hell their role was in the game. To me, it just seemed like a very arbitrary mechanic that neither helped or hindered in any way. In Battlefield, on the other hand, it is the squad leader who is making decisions and pointing out objectives to their squad, which makes even just a basic level of cooperative play possible, whereas in COD, your squad mates are nothing more than spawn points that you can choose. Now, the squad leader conundrum brings me on to my next point, and that is kill streaks. So in Battlefield, your whole squad builds up points and then your squad leader gets to choose what streak they want to use. This means that there is only a certain amount of people on the game at any one time that are able to call for this sort of support. However, in Ground War, everyone is able to call in their own streaks. To be honest, I don't find this much of an issue, because if you're a semi-competent player on a semi-competent team, you should be able to stop the enemy from getting all the big streaks. However, one streak in particular, the cruise missile, is so easy to get in this mode because it only takes 5 kills to get it. That means they seem to be going off left, right and bloody centre, leaving it virtually impossible to cross large open areas consistently. So all in all, I guess the point of this video is to say that yes, this game mode has its flaws, and no, it isn't going to kill Battlefield, but if you take this juvenile war between COD and Battlefield out of the equation, it's actually super fun. Now I'm going to call the problem with this game mode the M&M debacle, because Ground War is too Call of Duty for the Battlefield fans and too Battlefield for the Call of Duty fans, meaning that it is stuck in the middle whereby it is neither filling the wants or needs of either side. That being said, for me personally, I absolutely love my time playing it. It allowed me to play the fast-paced, full-throttle Call of Duty playstyle that I've been enjoying for over a decade, but on a much bigger scale from what I'm used to. I also think that it does give a lot of the Call of Duty players the opportunity to play larger scale maps without having to step into the daunting arena that is Battlefield. I think what a lot of Battlefield players are forgetting is that actually there is a huge learning curve to Battlefield, and to be able to understand your class and role and how you fit into the team isn't easy to some people. Not to mention that if someone is a die-hard COD fan, they probably don't even like the slower, methodical pace of Battlefield, and guess what? That is fine. Call of Duty isn't Battlefield, nor is it trying to be, and I think the issue is we all have been let down by Battlefield 5 and most of us crave a return to a modern setting. So when we heard about this mode being in the works, we had dreams of it being a new and improved Battlefield experience that we have all been asking for. But that doesn't mean that it's awful. If you just give it a chance from an honest, open and unbiased standpoint, you might just have some fun. Failing that, just stick to Battlefield. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on the situation, and I have to say this beta has only made me more and more excited for the year to come. I honestly can't wait to see how this game turns out, and hopefully with the feedback of the community they can make Ground War much more enjoyable for all of you Battlefield players too. So let me know what you make of it down below. That's it from me. I'm Average Ol. Peace.